Welcome to Deep Dive. Today we're digging into a character packed with energy from a classic animated show, Jade Chan from Jackie Chan Adventures.
That's right. We've gone through her wiki page, top to bottom.
And the goal here isn't just, listing facts. We want to really get who Jade is, what makes her tick.
Exactly. We'll look at her personality, her skills, those complex relationships. Try to piece together why she was such a standout character for so many people.
Okay, let's jump in. Character overview first. Full name, Jade Chan. And she's not just a sidekick, she's the deuteragonist. Second most important character.
Right. And the family connection, often called Jackie's niece, but technically his first cousin once removed.
Which is an interesting detail. Maybe explain some of their dynamic.
Could be. It's a bit different than a direct niece-uncle thing. We also know Stacey Chan voiced her, mostly.
And she ages a bit in the show. Starts at 11, then she's at least 12 later on. So there's some growth there.
Mm-hmm. In her origin, why she's even there?
Yeah.
She's Chinese, but living in San Francisco.
Sent by her parents, right? Because she was a bit unruly. Bad grades. They hoped Jackie would be a good influence.
Yeah, which tells you right away she's got spirit. Not exactly shy.
Definitely not. And that first meeting with Jackie, kind of hilarious.
Oh, yeah, pretending not to understand English.
So clever. And maybe a little bit cheeky. Led Jackie to think there was this big language barrier.
Which obviously wasn't true at all.
Not for long.
Right.
As soon as she saw Jackie's martial arts dealing with those artifact hunters, boom, attitude change.
And then the big reveal of her fluent English when she tries to rescue him from Section 13.
Talk about making an entrance. It really sets the tone, doesn't it? Adaptable, ready for action.
Absolutely. Maybe too ready sometimes from Jackie's point of view.
Okay, appearance. The wiki gives us that classic look.
Mm-hmm. The white long sleeve under the orange hoodie.
Blue high-water jeans, red sneakers. You see that outfit, you know it's Jade.
Totally iconic. And her height, 3 feet tall. Gets teased for it.
But she uses it too, right? People underestimate her because she's small.
Exactly. Plus, the grown-out black hair, light brown eyes. Very recognizable look.
All right, let's get into the core of it, her personality. And wow, the wiki lists a lot of traits.
It's quite a mix. Adventurous, happy-go-lucky, bold, sharp-witted.
Also arrogant, kind, enthusiastic, impulsive, noble-hearted, stubborn, impatient.
Brave, flexible, tomboyish. It's a lot packed into one kid.
So how do all these pieces fit together? They seem almost contradictory sometimes.
Well, that's what makes her interesting, I think. Her impulsiveness gets her into trouble.
Constantly.
But it's also that boldness, that quick thinking that saves the day when Jackie's being maybe too careful.
Good point. She's always eavesdropping on Section 13, messing with Uncle's magic.
Usually without permission.
And just throwing herself into fights. Jackie must have had constant heart palpitations.
Oh, for sure. But she's incredibly resourceful. If she wants something, she finds a way. Loopholes, pretending to agree.
She's persistent. Do you think it's just the thrill-seeking or something more?
That's a good question. Maybe trying to prove herself, find her place in this crazy new life. She's definitely not afraid to speak her mind.
No kidding. Orders, manners, even the law sometimes. If he gets in her way, she pushes back.
And there's that moment mentioned, destroying Shendu's statue in the Season 1 finale. Kind of ruthless almost.
Yeah, no hesitation, no remorse. It shows a surprisingly pragmatic side.
But then you contrast that with her noble heart. She'll sacrifice anything for the people she loves.
Like giving up the talismans for Jackie's antidote.
Or her own demon chi to get them back safely. That selflessness is huge.
And despite all the rule breaking, she does want Jackie's approval. Hates disappointing him.
Right. So even the reckless stuff often comes from a good place, wanting to help, be part of it all. Her methods are just unique.
Her loyalty's fierce too. Forms bonds fast. Like with animals, or even former foes like Toru.
And betrayal hits her hard. Like with Viper initially, or especially Sivu pretending to be Seymour.
Oh yeah, that was rough. And her love for animals gives her extra drive, puts her in danger for them.
It's interesting. For her age, she has these flashes of real maturity. The wiki connects it to her past lives. The chosen one of the Ben Shui order.
Right. This ancient mystical thing suggests there's more going on under the surface. Maybe explain some of that intuition or bravery?
Latent potential? Deeper wisdom, maybe?
Okay, powers and abilities. She doesn't shoot lasers or anything.
No. Her main strengths are her mind. Intelligence, being observant, street smarts. She sees simple solutions the adults miss.
She really does. Like, she's looking at the problem from ground level, literally.
And she can argue her way into anything. Her logic, even when it's justifying something risky, is surprisingly sound sometimes.
Plus, she's got martial arts training from Jackie.
Initially for discipline, but she's actually pretty good. That flying kick is legendary.
Yeah. Handles bullies, even holds her own against a Section 13 agent in training. Don't mess with Jade.
And her knack for magic is kind of surprising. Potions, chi spells. She picks it up really fast, even without much supervision.
It suggests a natural connection, doesn't it, to the mystical world they're always dealing with.
Definitely. And puzzle solving. The Panku box. Solved it like it was nothing.
And she's notorious for getting past Section 13 security. Super smart kid.
All pointing back to that sharp mind and maybe that latent chosen one power bubbling underneath.
Let's talk relationships. This is a big part of the show, starting with Jackie.
Core relationship, obviously. Very close, very caring, but also constantly clashing.
Her wanting adventure, him wanting her safe, that's the central tension, really.
Remember that time travel episode? Jackie almost sent her home. Felt he couldn't handle it.
But he changed his mind, right? Realized how much she actually needed her, how often she did help.
Yeah, it shows how deep that bond became. And for Jade, Jackie's safety always comes first, even over the talismans.
Now, Uncle, it's family, but different.
Yeah, not as close. She finds his shop boring compared to Section 13.
Huh. I bet. They annoy each other, but he never uses that two-finger poke on her.
Which is saying something. Maybe a soft spot there.
Toru, though, that's a great relationship arc.
Oh, absolutely. From Dark-Hand Enforcer hunting talismans against her.
To basically her protective older brother after he reformed.
But she cares so much about him, too. Being his sumo mentor. So Jade.
It really is. Then there's El Toro Fuerte.
The wrestler. Jade admires his skills eventually.
Right.
Initially thought wrestling was fake.
Right. But she comes around, sees him as part of the J team. Their banter is pretty funny.
Like kids arguing on the playground, mostly.
And with Paco, El Toro's protege. Similar vibe, lots of arguments about whose hero is better, Jackie or El Toro.
But they're friends underneath. Jade usually seems a bit sharper, more mature in a crisis, but she respects Paco when he steps up.
Viper's interesting. Jade sees her as like an aunt figure.
Seems that way, and Viper seems to like her too. Took a while to build trust, given Viper's past.
Sure, ex-thief and all.
But Jade ends up trusting her completely. Even tries to play matchmaker with Jackie.
Oh my gosh, yes. Hilarious. What about her actual parents, Shen and her mom?
We don't see a ton of them. They sent her away due to her behavior.
But we're happy with how she improved under Jackie. Let her stay longer.
Right. But her main connection, her real family life, feels like it's with Jackie and Uncle and Toru.
Makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
antagonists. Velma Joe.
Yeah, mostly just saw her as an annoyance, right? No deep dynamic there.
Shendu. The big bad dragon.
He despises her, sure, but his real hatred is focused on Jackie. Kind of underestimates Jade, even though she's key to beating him so often.
It's a weird blind spot. She just sees him as, evil dragon guy.
Siwoo, though, that sky demon, that was personal.
Because he tricked her, pretended to be that kid Seymour.
Exactly. Gained her trust, maybe even a little crush. The betrayal really fueled her drive to stop him.
Dalan Wong, the
Oh.
evil wizard.
Jade calls him the freaky anti-uncle. Pretty accurate. He just sees her as a nuisance to get rid of.
Tarakudo, king of the Shadowkan.
His attitude shifted. At first, he was sort of lenient, thought maybe her being queen of the Shadowkan briefly meant she wasn't fully good, but her youth excused it.
But then she kept interfering.
Yeah, then he was all too happy to try and take her out.
And finally, Drago, Shendu's son.
Now he sees Jade as a major threat, apparently because of some rivalry with her future self.
Whoa, future Jade.
Yeah, so he actively targets her, tries to mess with her head, uses her emotions against her, hates her intensely. Much more personal than Shendu.
There's also a Jimmy mentioned, but seems like not much detail there in the source.
Right, just the name listed. But all these interactions, good and bad, really shape who she becomes.
Okay, weaknesses. Impulsiveness is the big one.
Definitely. Gets her and everyone else into trouble constantly.
And being called shrimp, that used to really set her off.
Yeah, though the wiki says she kind of drew out of that later, didn't seem bothered by it with Strike Master Ice.
So a bit of growth there, too. That impulsiveness, though, it's such a double-edged sword.
Totally. Causes problems, but also leads to those unexpected wins.
Let's hit some trivia. This stuff is always fun.
Okay, like the fact she's in every single episode, except for Jackie. All 95.
Wow, that really shows how central she is. And sharing the last name with her voice actor, Stacey Chan.
Nice little connection.
Yeah.
And apparently, the original idea was for her to be Captain Black's daughter.
Whoa! That would change everything. Imagine that dynamic.
Totally different show.
Yeah.
The wiki also clarifies The whole niece versus first cousin once removed thing again.
Right, cultural naming conventions can be broader. And it's funny that only Jade and her parents ever question Uncle's exact relation.
True. And her favorite color is blue. Little detail.
And those rare times, she did listen and stay behind, like in wait and see.
Yeah, it highlights that she could follow orders, just usually chose not to.
The inconsistent cell phone thing is just amusing continuity error, basically.
It happens in animation. But this one's great. Section 13 classifies her as the ultimate security risk.
Ah, perfect. They know who the real wild card is.
Absolutely. And for anyone wanting more, the wiki has galleries, lists of other characters, animals.
Yeah.
Lots to explore in that universe.
So, wrapping up our deep dive on Jade Chan, what have we found?
A really layered character, I
Yeah.
think. That adventurous spirit, the sharp mind, the hints of magic.
And all those contradictions that make her feel real. Impulsive, but noble, reckless, but sometimes mature.
Exactly. She's not just a plot device or comic relief. There's depth there, which is why she resonates.
Which brings us to a final thought for you listening. We talked about her being the chosen one, those latent powers.
Right, that mystical potential.
If the show had explored that more, what do you think Jade's ultimate destiny could have been? Something to think about next time you maybe rewatch an episode or two. She's quite the character.